Hi, my name is Jimmy Joe, and I play at the Barton Creek Farmers Market, usually the first Saturday of the month. Grandpa used to tell me about the olden days, how he used to walk to school uphill both ways. He'd set me down right there upon his knee, and I'd hang on to every word that Grandpa'd say to me. He'd reminisce out loud about when bread was just a dime. I sat there wide open eyes, traveling through time, to a day when gas was cheaper than the price of dirt by far. But that was back before the wheel, let alone the car. He told us fishing stories about when he used to sail. Somehow the fish got bigger every time he'd tell a tale. Grandma told us how he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Now she would knit the sweaters while Grandpa spun the yarn. Grandpa was a hunter, quite a marksman in fact. Said he once took down a buck with his gun behind his back. Told me once out on the field he had a golden arm, but he turned down the big leagues for he would not leave the farm. Grandpa never claimed to be a ladies' man, he'd say, but he broke a heart or two or three or four back in his day. Grandma didn't mind Grandpa telling his white lies. The truth is where it matters, you could see it in his eyes. In the days that followed after Grandpa died, we ate too much and laughed a little more than we cried. Grandma told us how he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. How she would knit the sweaters while Grandpa spun the yarn. Grandpa told me life was hard when he was a young lad. Sometimes he thought the good would never catch up to the bad. But he worked hard and loved, and he gave thanks and he gave praise, and he lived a life without regret back in the olden days. In the months that followed after Grandpa died, we drank too much and laughed a little more than we cried. Grandma told us how he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Now she would knit the sweaters while Grandpa spun the yarn. She would knit the sweaters while Grandpa spun the yarn. Thank you. Appreciate that. This is one I wrote after about a month into the pandemic. You know, we were all sitting around. We had nothing to do but sit around and write songs. And I wrote this one after a dream I woke up from. Guitar's a little bass heavy up here. I woke up from this dream and wrote it down and just got right to work on it. Took a drive to my hometown, first time since it all began. I didn't recognize the main street. It was like a wasteland. There used to be a pizzeria. You know we loved that place. The music store where I learned to play guitar. Felt a tear roll down my face. Mama, there's something going on here. What's happened to our town? The school has been boarded up. The stores have been knocked down. She said the mom and pop shops are all gone. They took them down to make room for more apartments and condos. And there's a new school, I think they call it Zoom. Down the road there was a hardware store. They had everything you'd need. By the wall behind the 5 and dime, we used to go to smoke weed. I drove past the soccer field. It was all overgrown. The light's still on at the liquor store. I guess I should have known. Mama, there's something going on here. What's happened to our town? The school has been boarded up. The stores have been knocked down. She said the mom and pop shops are all gone. They took them down to make room for more apartments and condos. There's a new school, I think they call it Zoom. There's a new school, it's called Zoom. Thank you. Yeah, and I'm a school bus driver, and during those early days in the pandemic, we were actually mobile hotspots for kids that were in Zoom school. So, all right, I'm gonna lighten it up a little bit now. When I was a kid, Evel Knievel was one of my heroes, and this is a true story, unfortunately. Let me start that again. Ditched my old trike, got my first real bike when I was 6 or 7. I rode it up and down the block and all around. I was in kid heaven. One day I was bored, I found an old barn door. I made a ramp with an old truck tire. Well, I picked up my pace, determination on my face. Jumped the ramp, man was I on fire. I laid 3 tires on the end and jumped again. Checked the bike, made sure the chain was greasy. Laid down 3 more beyond the old barn door, but jumping 6 tires was too easy. So then I got my friend to put another one on the end. When I jumped, man, I knew that I could fly. I said 1 more will do, on second thought let's make it 2. You never know until you try. I felt like a champ when I hit the ramp. Well, I was doing just fine, but I knew I tempted fate. When I cleared number 8, my front wheel got stuck in number 9. I went flying, but my bike stayed behind. For a moment, I was Superman. I sailed head first into the grass and the dirt. Didn't turn out as I planned. And when I came to, I was black and blue. My friend was looking down at me. He lifted me up, said, "You've had enough. You might as well be riding up a tree." Left it all behind me, but a bent bike to remind me. I fixed the wheels, straightened out the seat. There was no deciding, but I just kept on riding to that maple tree up the street. I never noticed before till I looked down at the floor, the perfect slope of the roots. If I could wrangle my bike up that angle, I'd fly right out of my boots. So I rode back to the yard, I got a good running start. The sky was calling down to me. Full steam ahead, well I felt a sense of dread when the bike and me climbed that maple tree. And when I came to, I was black and blue. My friend was looking down at me. He lifted me up and said, "You've had enough. Why'd you go riding up a tree?" He lifted me up and said, "I've had enough. Why'd you go riding up a tree?" All right, thank you so much. All right, this is a true story that I made up. It is based on some true stories that my uncle made up. It's a hot rod and a bootlegging song. Lightning rod was running whiskey, always knew the job was risky, set out to find the fastest car around. He got a name from a guy he knew, said there's only one man I'd send you to, that's Mickey the mechanic on the other side of town. Rod went to Mickey's shop, said I need a car that'll dust the cops. Mickey said, "How much you willing to spend?" They agreed on a price and cash, of course. Mickey charged him by the horse, half up front, half on the other end. Mickey said, "Nah, don't be shy. She'll do 110 in the blink of an eye, but you have to break her in slow, you'll break her down." Rod forked over a wad of cash. He loaded up his liquid stash and he grinned at that low and rumbling sound. The night was cool out there in the hills, a hooch was hot right off the still. He fired up that beast ready for flight. He was wound up the hour late, he ignored advice and tempted fate, cloven and pedal and sped off into the night. And all the years he's been running lightning, Rod never drove a car so frightening. He took Dead Man's Curve at 95. But Mickey built that rocket right, the tires held the pavement tight. He prayed he'd make it to the other side alive. Oh, Mickey the mechanic, he's known to stir a panic, runs a shop on the other side of town. Built a car cops had feared, just 6 and 5 in second gear, outrun the devil when you lay that hammer down. Late that night, Mickey had a visit. Before he could even say, "Who is it?" the law damn near busted down his door. Mickey said, "What can I do for you men? Shop is closed and it's after 10, so how about telling me what this intrusion is for?" The law said, "Mickey, your problem's arisen, and if you want to stay out of prison, I suggest you listen up and hear me good. Ain't none of betting's a serious crime. We'll send you up for some serious time for the voodoo that you do underneath the hood." The lawman said, "We need a car, and what'll I run them all? By far, we'll even pay you fair to get it right." So Mickey listened to his spiel, said, "Mister, you got yourself a deal. I have one here, you can drive away tonight." Oh, Mickey the mechanic, he's known to stir a panic, runs a shop on the other side of town. Built a car in the fear, does 85 in second gear, outrun the devil when you lay that hammer down. Well, Rod felt a recoil as the dashboard light shined the word oil on a cloud of smoke billowed out from under the hood. Old Lightning took to panic, because he didn't know a thing about mechanicking, and he wouldn't spin a wrench even if he could. On a bend, that engine threw a rod, and Rod started believing in God as the back end lost control in an oil slick. The car spun out about 10 times. You could say it turned on a buck of dimes and slammed into a cypress tree down by the creek. The car came to rest in a bog, and Rod came to in a fog when he heard something trickling out down by the trunk. He climbed out, crawled underneath, caught a stream of liquor between his teeth. He was well on his way to getting stone cold drunk. Doesn't matter in the end if he heard the law coming round the bend, barreling on through that oily haze. The lawman hit that oil patch, and his tires never had a chance to catch. They crashed head-on into a fiery blaze. The news made its way to town, and Mickey closed the shop right down. He wheeled his own hot rod out the garage. Made from parts not found on a shelf, he saved the fastest car for himself, left a cloud of dust as he hightailed it out of Dodge. Oh, Mickey the mechanic is known to stir panic. Runs a shop on the other side of town. Built a car everybody feared. Does 95 in second gear. Outran the devil when he laid that hammer down. Thank you.